Welcome to this special program with Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Sonia Parag, where she will be discussing the issue of protest by frontline workers. Good evening, Minister. Now, Minister, there have been a series of protests across the country by frontline workers. They have some grievances. How will the government address this issue?
Well, first of all, it was brought to my attention today that there were sporadic protests in Region 5. I believe it started in Region 10, then we've had it in Region 3, 4, 5, and 6. In relation to the protests, what I would say is that there are several legislation laws in place that guides grievances of essential workers of the public sector at large. And specifically with the health sector, they're also known as essential workers. There are certain steps that are to be taken before you jump into a protest. As far as I'm aware, those steps were not taken in accordance with the laws. And up to today's date, up to this time, the Ministry of Public Service and the Ministry of Health, we are unaware as to exactly what the grievances are. We're not unaware, but we're unclear as to what the grievances are because they have moved from risk allowance to increase in salary. It's changing as it goes along. But at this point in time, I have consulted, prior to coming to giving the interview, I would have consulted with the Chief Labor Officer and the various agencies in relation to the protests. And I could not get an answer as it relates to what exactly the grievances are because it's still unclear. Now, also, there are no correspondence. Notice was not given that there would be a protest. So I don't believe that the laws and the legislations were followed, the relevant laws and legislation in relation to any grievances that they have.
Now, Minister, as it relates to the risk allowance and other benefits, there are some provisions in the budget. Could you speak a little bit about those provisions?
Right. So the government, in its budgetary measures, have catered for $150 million to be given to frontline workers. Those who come within the definition of a frontline worker will be given and will benefit from that $150 million. Now, not only will the frontline workers benefit, but Guyanese on the whole will benefit from the measures in place in the budget. Aside from the $150 million for the frontline workers, we have $25,000 cash grant that will be given to each household. And every essential sector and every Guyanese will benefit from that. We also have the reversal of draconian tax measures that would have placed hardship on Guyanese. The reversal of those tax measures will bring relief. So every Guyanese will benefit from those tax measures being reversed, as well as the $25,000 cash grant. And in particular, the frontline workers will benefit from the $150 million. So the government has taken into consideration those who are working specifically in the COVID pandemic environment.
Okay, Minister. Another question. How has these protests affected the hospitals, the performance at the hospitals?
We don't have them there at the hospital performing. So it has affected because not only in the COVID pandemic, but generally you have persons who are in dire need of health care. Now those persons are left abandoned because the protests are ongoing and nobody's there. They're not there at the hospital to take care. The healthcare workers are not there to take care of them. In the same breath, I am encouraging the healthcare workers to return to work and give that service to Guyanese and take the necessary steps provided for by the laws to reach a stage of discussion and with the relevant sectors.
Thank you very much, Minister.
All right.
And thank you very much for joining us.